The recreation dome of Kepler Station hummed with the artificial serenity that only advanced climate control could provide. Orla sat alone at the edge of the observation deck, her fingers tracing the condensation on her water bottle, a habit from Earth that her classmates found barbaric. Real water, they said, not the nutrient gel everyone else consumed. Inefficient. Primitive. She watched the other students through the transparent aluminum partition. The Zenari clustered together, their bioluminescent skin patterns flickering in what she'd learned was laughter. The Korvathi floated near the ceiling, their gas-filled bladders adjusting with minute precision to maintain their preferred altitude. Even the Threxian students, with their crystalline exoskeletons, seemed to find community among themselves. But Orla was alone, the human, the girl from Earth. "Still drinking your poison, I see," came a voice behind her. Orla didn't turn. She recognized Krell's synthesized voice pattern, the slight mechanical hiss that marked him as Zenari nobility. "Tell me, does it still surprise you that civilized species evolved beyond such crude biological requirements?" Daniel, the station's maintenance supervisor, watched from his monitoring post 3 levels above. His console flagged the interaction immediately, biosign stress markers elevating in Sector 7. He zoomed the camera feed and felt his jaw tighten. The girl again. Always the girl. He'd been on Kepler Station for 6 years, ever since the United Earth government had begun its cultural exchange program. He'd watched humans arrive with hope and leave with haunted eyes. But something about Orla was different. She never complained, never reported the incidents. She just endured. That worried him more than anything. "Ignore him," Orla whispered to herself, her voice barely audible. Earth's gravity was 1.3 times standard galactic measurement, and her bone density reflected generations of evolution under that crushing weight. But here, in Kepler's carefully regulated 0.8 G environment, that advantage meant nothing except making her heavy worlder trash, as Krell so often reminded her. What they didn't understand, what they couldn't understand, was what Earth truly was. The Galactic Concordance had classified exactly 47 worlds as death worlds in their extensive catalog of 12,000 inhabited planets. Earth ranked third. Third in a galaxy where most species evolved under gentle suns, in stable ecosystems, with predators that could be reasoned with or avoided. Earth had none of those luxuries. Krell moved closer, his bioluminescence shifting to aggressive red patterns. 2 of his friends flanked Orla, their translucent skin revealing the complex network of photophores beneath. In the station's soft lighting, they looked like living lamps, beautiful and alien. "I asked you a question, human," Krell said. His 3-fingered hand reached for her water bottle. Orla's hand moved. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't violent. Her fingers simply closed around the bottle a fraction of a second before Krell's did, with such casual speed that he actually flinched backward. Daniel leaned forward at his console, his hand hovering over the emergency response button. He'd seen that reaction time before, in combat veterans who'd survived too many battles. But Orla was 17 standard years old. "Please don't touch my things," Orla said quietly, her accent carrying that peculiar Earth inflection that marked humans even across interstellar distances. Krell's luminescence flickered confusion, then anger. "Did you just threaten me?" "No," Orla said, standing slowly. At 0.8 G, her movements had a fluid grace that belied her Earth-built musculature. "I asked politely." One of Krell's friends, a younger Zenari named Plix, reached out to shove Orla backward. It was meant to be humiliating, a casual display of dominance that worked on every other species in the station. Plix's hand connected with Orla's shoulder. Orla didn't move, not an inch, not a millimeter. Plix's expression shifted through several emotional spectrums, his bioluminescence stuttering with confusion. He pushed harder, his entire body weight behind the effort. Orla stood like she was rooted to the deck plating. Because Daniel realized with growing alarm she essentially was. In 1G, that push would have been barely noticeable. In 0.8G, to someone who'd grown up climbing mountains and running through forests where a single fall meant death, it was nothing. "What are you?" Plix whispered, his voice distorting through his translator. "I'm from Earth," Orla said simply. She picked up her bag with one hand, a bag that Daniel's sensors told him weighed 42 kilograms. She lifted it like it was empty. "I should get to class." Krell stepped into her path, his confidence returning. "You think you're special because you're dense, because you evolved on some barbaric rock where everything tried to kill you." "No," Orla said. "I think I'm tired, and I'd like to go to my quantum mechanics lecture." "Make her apologize," one of the other students said, a Korvathi whose name Daniel couldn't remember. "Make the Deathworlder show some respect." Daniel's hand moved to the emergency button, but he hesitated. Station protocol was clear. Intervene only in cases of immediate physical danger. Verbal harassment, while reported, didn't qualify for supervisor intervention. But every instinct he'd honed over 2 decades of service was screaming at him to stop this. Krell grabbed Orla's arm. What happened next took 1.3 seconds. Orla's free hand moved to Krell's wrist, not violently, but with absolute precision. She applied pressure to a specific point where Zenari neural clusters concentrated, information she'd learned from her xenobiology courses. Krell's hand spasmed open involuntarily. Then she did something that made every student in the recreation dome go silent. She smiled. "On Earth," Orla said conversationally, her voice carrying in the sudden quiet, "we have these creatures called ants. They're tiny, maybe 5 millimeters long. They can lift 50 times their own body weight. In your gravity, I can lift approximately 300 times what you can. I grew up in 1.3G. Every day of my life was strength training by your standards. Every breath was cardio exercise. Every step built muscle and bone density that your species couldn't develop even with genetic modification." She released Krell's wrist gently, carefully. "But that's not what makes Earth a death world," she continued. "It's not the gravity or the predators or the diseases or the weather systems that can level cities. It's that we survived all of that and still developed art, music, philosophy, poetry. We looked at a world that wanted us dead and decided to make it beautiful anyway." Orla adjusted her bag on her shoulder. "I don't want to hurt you, Krell. I don't want to humiliate you. I just want to learn to be part of this incredible community of species and maybe, if I'm lucky, make some friends. But if you touch me again without permission, I'll show you exactly what millions of years of evolution on a death world actually means." The silence stretched for 3 full seconds. Then Orla walked past them, her footsteps making soft sounds on the deck plating, each step carrying a weight that suddenly seemed far more significant than simple mass. Daniel watched her go, his hand finally moving away from the emergency button. He brought up her file on his secondary screen. Academic performance, exemplary. Disciplinary issues, none. Psychological evaluations, concerning resilience levels, recommended monitoring for suppressed trauma responses. He made a note in her file. Student demonstrates exceptional restraint and maturity under harassment. Recommend recognition and increased support from station counseling services. Then he flagged Krell's file for disciplinary review. That evening, Daniel found Orla in the same spot on the observation deck, watching Earth's distant sun through the station's long-range viewer. He downloaded his shift supervisor credentials to his tablet and approached carefully. "You handled that well today," he said. Orla looked up surprised. "You saw." "I see everything," Daniel said, tapping his tablet. "Maintenance supervisor. It's my job to keep everyone safe, even if they don't know they need protecting." "I didn't need protecting." "I know," Daniel said. "That's what worries me." Orla was quiet for a moment, then smiled. A real smile this time, not the controlled expression she'd shown Krell. You're from Earth too. Houston, judging by your accent. Dublin actually, but close enough. Daniel sat down beside her, maintaining a respectful distance. You know what I miss most about home? What? The rain, real rain, not recycled condensation. The way it smells, the sound it makes. Orla nodded. I miss the ocean, the actual ocean, not water tanks and aquariums. They sat in companionable silence, two humans on a station of thousands, watching their distant home star and remembering what it meant to come from a world that forged survivors.